Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another OTC Stock Talk. We're going to chop up everything in the OTC stock room. I mean, if you name it, if it has a penny ticker to it on OTC markets, we're going to talk about it today. Especially if it traded over $10,000 in volume. Just to give everybody a brief disclaimer, we are not licensed brokers. We're not financial planners. Please do your own due diligence, know what you own, and talk to your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. I think it's going to be a lively stock talk tonight. I mean, there seems to be a little bit more action going on in OTC markets over the last few days. I'm excited about that. Definitely have a stock or two I want to talk about myself. I went through all the advancers and decliners on OTC markets and extrapolated, yes, I use that word, extrapolated quite a handful of stocks that made good moves, whether up or down, that traded at a minimum of $10,000 in volume. So I'm sure if you're holding the bag or if you're holding a nice uptick in your account, man, I'm here to talk about it. What's up, OTC?
I'm sorry, I thought I was muted there.
No, I was just talking for a second. I could hear you coughing.
Yeah, that's why I thought I muted the cough, but here we are.
I thought you were telling me to stop talking. I get it.
No, that's how I introduce myself now in 2024.
You got a cough to get off, right?
Yeah, I just have a cough, and that's how people know I'm here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shido, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys. All good. All good. So, Pat, today I can call you Pat, right?
You're allowed to call me Pat today.
Only today.
Yeah, because I'm working on that token stuff, and like everyone pretty much knows who I am involved with it, but like I was kind of just trying not to be out there, and then he was like, "Hey, Pat, what about this?" And I was like, "Excuse me, who?" So
You're trying not to put your name on it?
I mean, everyone knows it's me anyways, but I'm just trying not to make it about me as much. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to make it about.
It's about the token.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Shido let the cat right out of the bag.
I was so used to that, I didn't think about that.
All good. Well, it looks like it's filling up a little bit. You guys go ahead and share this space. Let's see if we can fill it up.
What's up, Long Bully Stick? Hey, Cameron. Guys, welcome back. Eddie Haskell, seriously. I mean, if you are the Eddie Haskell of the show, I want to hear what you have to say about some stocks. CBJ, is this first time? Poly V, K stocks. Yeah, guys, go share this space, DM somebody, let them know that we're talking about stocks that matter. If you have a stock that we should be looking at, potential to throw on a watch list or buy some or whatever you're trying to tout. I mean, we're here to either laugh or come along with you, but bring some due diligence. We all want to know why the hell you're saying it's going to go up or down or why it should be looked at. And we've had quite a few stocks we've talked about on here. I'm sure we'll touch base on them. So for all those IGPK lovers or FLES or any of the number of stocks that we talk about on a regular basis, we will get there. But each person that comes up, you get one time to talk. That way we don't have people trying to capitalize on the mic time. Other than that, I think it's going to be a free-for-all.
I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, go ahead and get your requests in. If you'd like to mention a stock, we'd love to hear your DD, your pitch, whatever it is. Pretty good day though. I mean, you look at that Wanderports finally made a good move. I mean, I'm thinking back how many times that thing really struggled. And so in the OTC method chat today and with a little volume and a big bid popped up, we mentioned it and around 13, and next thing you know, right through the roof. And then we had the couple more really good moves here. What was that one that I can't believe it's out of my head right now.
DRNK?
No,
Sir.
that did have some volume of FUST.
Oh, fust.
Yeah, that was a hell of a move last couple days. We've been on that. Some good ones. I saw that DRNK got volume. Why is that?
Just volume. I mean, they did $684,000 in volume. That's the most out of the OTC and the advancers today. They had the highest amount of volume.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of shocked that did it even move at all?
Oh yeah, it was up.
It did.
It was up 100%.
Okay. Well, there you go. Okay.
100% to 0008.
Well, nice move there for sure. And a little bit of action on that IWAL, which I still am quite keen on. So it'll be nice to hear from them. So overall, it was nice to see some real movement today. I was pretty pleased with it.
Think about this. DRNK has 9 billion in the float. 9.19 billion in the float, and they had 100% move today. They had to have that high. They traded 1.13 billion shares. That's a lot of shares, man.
I don't know what to say. I'm just
Congratulations to whoever was bagged in it.
yeah. I mean, well, let's take a look at what's. Oh my God, 10 billion, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
Jeez
yep,
Louise. I mean, I
yeah.
know they got some filings out, but yikes.
They got a long ways to go, man. This stock has been like that for wow. I'm looking at a chart. It's not pretty. Yeah, they
It's called.
haven't been
Yeah.
up this high,
Good.
and shoot, that was back in 2021 since they've been trading here.
Yeah, it's called Drink. We used to call it Stink, believe it or not. That was the nickname we gave it. But certainly a nice move today. So maybe it's you know putting some soap on. You know what I mean? Because who knows. But if anyone here is like, I know they have some filings out. So if anyone here has some DD, I mean that would be awesome. But yeah, get your hands up, get your requests in. Shido, how did you feel the day went?
A little bit better than the last several days, I felt. I have seen a couple of organic moves today on some of my low floats. MSE set came up a little bit. We got some buyers there again. They had this vice president added a while ago. It's super, really nice setup. This NDTC showed a little bit of buying. I mean, it's not a lot of volume, but you haven't seen this in the last few days. So overall, I thought there was more energy. Obviously, if you have something moving like WDRP, I mean, you can feel how you immediately get more energy, like an hour later. That's how I feel. You would agree?
Absolutely. I mean, you feel like, okay, people been grinding, and to actually give them some real price action, it's really encouraging. And
Yeah.
I sincerely hope that there's some continuation, because it's just been a lot of nasty hits in a row, and it's stuff like that brings everyone back.
Yeah. I felt the last 2 weeks were pretty awful, all in all. I mean, there's always a few movers, but across the board, in a bigger picture, I thought it wasn't really good. So maybe we turned the corner today. I guess we will see.
Maybe, you know what? A step is a step.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely.
You can only take one step at a time, or you
That's
can
what.
trip over yourself. Either way.
That's right. And I mean, and unless you're doing hopping, I wouldn't mind some hopping actually, but a step is fine. Step is fine. You know what
Why are
I
you saying
mean?
that? Because we've had such no volume and things have been down so much. You need some hops to catch back up.
Sure. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a hop. How about a leap?
Yeah,
Jeez Louise,
anything forward.
give me a leap, baby.
I
So
thought
we'll
one we're
see.
talking about today was kind of funny. It didn't have a massive move, but SHMP, shrimp.
Yeah,
Who
you know
was it
what?
that was on here talking about that? But
I wonder what's going on with like, because I mean, they've been doing, so they had a SPAC merger that, and obviously that for them to move in a SPAC, because a lot of people get confused about this. Okay, think about this. You have, what happens when you do a reverse split? Let's say you have 1 billion shares and you do a reverse split 1-10. That would be a reverse split. Now let's say you have 1 billion shares and then you move into a SPAC with only 10 million floating or 10 million outstanding. That would be the equivalent of a reverse split, right? Like that's still getting a reverse split. And so I've been a little bit blown away. It's interesting you mention this because I've been a bit blown away by people going, "Oh, wait until it's in the SPAC," but not realizing that they're getting split into a SPAC. You know what I mean? And so it seems that people are starting to wise up for it now. But if you haven't thought of that, maybe there's a bit of food for thought because it's actually a reverse split. And yes, it's on a different market, but if they sell into that, then it's all the same. So, anyways, there's
Yeah,
that.
there's that. Who's got their hand up? I know somebody wants to talk about a stock. It's going to be an exciting day. Already got 45 people in the room. If you haven't heard already, go share this. DM somebody, get them in the conversation. We're here to chat about all OTC stocks. Up or down, bags or no bags, let's do it. I want to bring one up that was an OTC stock that, man, I'm so freaking happy the stock's moving again. I sat there with my fingers crossed. I was highly anticipating a move and absolutely no volume. It was like you could hear a pin drop in the room, but GMGI is finally, over the last few days, had really substantial surge in volume. The stock's gone up about $1 per share, and I see it's seeing life, man.
Yeah, I'm happy for you on that. It's actually really, really looking good over the last 3-4 days, like really good.
It's not done yet, that's all I'm saying.
And I'm not saying it is. It looks really good. It looks awesome.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
big top
Josh.
volume. At the end of the day, they were just smashing it.
Yeah, it's good to see because I was following this closely lately, and I got concerned because we all waited for them to
Yeah.
realize that the big acquisition, the big merger happened, and I think we all waited for the market to celebrate, and this thing just kept dropping.
Yeah.
And so I was at the point: is the market they don't like the new business, or what's going on? But then intraday, a few days ago, it came back from intraday levels, low levels, and since then it's on the move. So good to see they finally caught up to it, I guess.
So I challenge everybody in this room. I'm not saying this to be a pumper. I'm saying due to the structure of the stock and the fact that over the last year, all the sellers that wanted to get out after the stock rose to like $14 a share and they got bagged, a lot of them have gotten out. There is little resistance. I mean, if it has steady volume over 10 days, you're going to see this thing climb back over 5. Like, it's going to keep moving quick. I mean, as long as there's consistent volume, of course, that's always the caveat. But this stock will move really easily. And the good thing about it is when you have a bunch of shareholders that really believe in the stock and have been dormant for a while because they've been so pissed off that it's down, they'll come to life and they'll start buying again. And I'm seeing that they're starting to call me, they're starting to message me, and I'm seeing people get back in and buying stock now that they're seeing positive momentum that haven't been in action for a little bit.
Yeah, and if you look at the daily chart, you can see that $2 is huge support. So I put a bit there as well, and I just missed it like by a few ticks. It just turned around at 220 or so, and my bid was like just a little bit lower. I didn't see it intraday that it reversed. So yeah, but I still have an okay position in it. But that was a little bit unlucky. It just turned around like 10 cents too early. But what can you do?
Well, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but that's, when you find a good stock with a good history and a bunch of shareholders and there's positive things happening, there's a good chance if it starts to come to life that you're not going to be the only one trying to move a stock. Like a lot of people will jump in. So don't take these out of question just because there's been low volume for like 6 months. People were really losing their patience waiting on that acquisition to finalize. It took like 2 years. That's a long time. What's up next?
Well, get your hands up, guys. We'd love to hear from you. We got a lot of folks here, and we're here. We're wanting to rebuild this OTC. So if you got a stock to talk about, let's get it.
Long bully stuff. Give us an update on Fless, man. I mean, there's been some random stuff going on with Fless. Get up here and talk about Fless for a second. Just sent you an invite. Give us a little update if you would, man. Gotta accept it, though.
We're going to build back better. You heard this one?
Yeah, we need to.
Wasn't that crazy? Remember that, though, during COVID? Like, all politicians.
I can hear you, Sam.
Here he is. I can hear him, too. Great.
Can everybody hear me? I just want.
Yeah, finally.
I just want to make sure. FLES or IGPK or JFHE. I mean, I know it's two, but in practicality, right now, I'm super excited about JFHE. I mean, you saw what happened yesterday, right? I mean, it was crazy. The
JFHE.
Yeah, IGPK. I'm just going by the new ticker. I've already adopted it.
What happened with that news yesterday, because so they say they're going to revert to the old name.
Yeah, so basically, from what I understand, the both the annual and the quarterlies are done, and they've been trying to upload those for a week or longer, and OTC wouldn't take them because they said the name doesn't match, and FINRA has not accepted the new name yet. So in order for them to match the name, they actually have to either wait for FINRA to approve the new name change, or they have to go back to State of Nevada, Secretary of State, change the name back to Integrated Cannabis Solutions.
They won't do that because they're in China, and that'll get them in trouble.
Right. Well, so they have to change the Nevada. This is Eric Newland, the attorney, change the name back to Integrated Cannabis Solutions just so they can upload and get full access to OTC markets, so they can upload the financials, annual from 2023 and the quarterly from Q1 from 2024. And then after that, then they can change the name back to, June Feng Huang, e-commerce, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're having to do this workaround, this hoop to be able to upload those financials. Because of that, yes, we did see the 40% spike yesterday in the stock price. Nice run. I was super pleased. Today we saw some selling, some profit taking. I get that. My feeling, and again, this is just an opinion. I'm thinking maybe tomorrow, knock on wood, because I think Secretary of State Nevada should be pretty efficient. We might see the name change back by tomorrow, Monday at the latest. And then from there, I don't know if it's going to be 2 days or 3 days for OTC markets to finally open up and say, okay, the names match. You can upload these filings now. So
welcome to the OTC markets.
Exactly. But here's the kicker.
Keep people confused.
Confused, right?
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
The kicker is we have a pretty good suspicion that the 2023 filings are mainly going to be Integrated Cannabis Solutions, going to be the old company. So the chances are good there's not going to be anything of the new company in last year's documentation. However, they did say on their website update yesterday that they will be uploading or filing both the annual and the Q1. So if that's the case, estimates have been all over the place as to what the revenues are with this company in China. There's a chance, and again, I don't know, I'm not predicting anything, but I'm just saying what happens then if that Q1 in the revenue column has a number that begins with the letter B.
I'm wondering what happens if it doesn't.
Right.
Like I'm with you. Like if it has the revenue number with the B in it, it's gonna probably be a great day for holders. But I'm also nervous, like it because you get in these rooms where everyone is like building this dream and so excited and for good reason. I mean, but then like I sure hope it does, because if that's what they're building up in the chat, it's gonna majorly suck ass if it doesn't.
Well, exactly. And there's going to be a lot of people, both, here in the US, investors in the US, and even people in China that for the past, 6 months have been being brainwashed by not only the government.
Countless TikToks or whatever they call them over there.
And I'm processing every single one of those frickin' WeChat and TikTok videos on the company. I'm translating and redubbing them in English, so I see every single one of those. And the amount of brainwashing or marketing, if you will, do it for your country. We're going to make the middle class rich, invest.
Sounds like the CCP is trying to soak up some money.
Exactly. And there was even one document that was widely spread all over X about a month ago, a documentation from the company that estimates that they're going to be putting approximately $1 billion US dollars into the company NASDAQ ticker every year. Now, it was a document from the company. Is that going to happen? Is that not going to happen? So that's why with a lot of investors like myself, I'm willing to take that gamble just to ride this out a little longer to see where it takes me, and to see if the entire company comes in, and to see if there's a B next week on the, in the Q1 financials. And then also to see how high this stock price can go before they have to do a reverse split, before they have to get the stock price target where the company wants it to be. And again, I'm not going to suggest I know where that stock price target is, but the company has in mind where they want it. So, maybe it's a 1 to 1,000 split. Maybe it's a 800 to 1. Maybe it's a 600 to 1. We don't know yet, because we don't know where that target stock price is, where the company wants it to be.
Oh, that's the fun of the OTC markets, we fully expect what we've expected. You're not going to, you won't know until it gets there. And I just hope you're paying attention so you can get out when it does.
Yeah. And it's all speculation at this point, right? I mean, we've got some speculation based on documentation coming from China, a country on the other side of the Pacific, that it's hard to validate and it's hard to verify. It's almost coming like from third party. So it is a gamble, right? It's, we're putting our investment down on the roulette table and we're hoping it hits 23. That's kind of where we are right now.
Well, I think it's honorable of you to say it that way. You know what I mean? Because really nothing is guaranteed. So hats off. One thing that really frustrates me about this story is hearing how hard OTC markets is making it to do business. Like it's so frustrating, because sometimes we say, oh, I wish more big companies would merge in, and then you hear this, and they'll go, you know what, I'll just go to the Toronto Stock Exchange. I'll just go to where, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so unbelievable. But the one thing I have to challenge you on is you said that you thought Arizona Secretary of State might be efficient. And I was
Nevada.
wondering,
Yeah.
Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada.
And okay, still Nevada though. And I was wondering if you were around for the 2020 election or not.
Well,
Okay, we're not going to bring politics into this, but yeah, that's a valid point.
it depends on who's holding the information, an R or a D.
Well,
But we're
I hope it goes
not
well.
going there. But yeah, but I would think it would be, a lot more efficient for them. And they believe, obviously, it's going to be a lot easier for them to change the name in Nevada back to the old name in order for OTC to let them finally upload those documents than to wait another 3 months or 4 months for FINRA, or 6 months, however long it takes for FINRA to approve the name change. That's the crazy part about what they're having to go through.
So I guess they're okay now with the cannabis word then.
Well, but the name's not changing back in China, right? It's just a temporary workaround with the state of Nevada just to temporarily change the name back so they can upload the filings. And then once the filings are uploaded, then they can change the name back again.
Man, OTC market's got to give their head a shake with this type of stuff, don't they?
Yeah, and
Big time.
And I didn't know that. I thought they already have full access, but apparently they only have partial access. They don't get full access until the name is reverted, and that's pretty wild.
Yeah, and from what I heard, it was very limited access. It was just access enough to update those few names, but not enough access to delete Gene's old name and to upload, the additional information that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you can also not verify the profile apparently with partial access, and you cannot do much. And so I didn't know that they didn't have full access yet. So I heard that other companies went through this as well. There were other examples that where companies didn't know that the name has to match in on the SOS and on OTC markets. I mean, OTC markets, we know that. I mean, they are really strict and sometimes really difficult to deal with. I don't know if that's a good thing for the OTC.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if they get a regime change there at some point, and who knows? I mean, obviously, I don't know if the rumors are true. We'll see with regard to the chairman of the SEC, but there may be a leadership change there too. So, I mean, maybe at some point someone will look at this market again and say, you know what? Like, this is a ridiculous regulation. So I'd love to be there for it.
And I know that was longer than 2 minutes, and I apologize to the listeners, but and to you guys. But I think most of what we discussed was good info.
No,
Yeah,
well, thank you very much
was.
for it, and a very honest and even-headed take, and I really appreciate it.
Anytime. All right, I'm going to mute, and looking forward to the next ticker being discussed.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, Sam.
Put a request in, y'all.
Yeah, Rebecca Pacheco, you is it called a tweet anymore? You X'd or tweeted. What do you guys think about IFUS and SAPX? And I sent you an invite to talk. If you click that microphone on the bottom left, you'll accept that invite. You can ask us whatever question you want about either one of those stocks, and we'd love to hear from you.
This isn't a judgment
Mark
zone.
Collin. Mark, what's up? You're in the house, man. Okay, this guy right here, I really respect because he's done so much due diligence, and I want to hear him talk for just a second. Mark, I just sent you an invite to speak. Click the microphone on the bottom left and accept that invite. I want to hear what you have to say about the last 3 days of trading. The reason why is Shido has actually bought some GMGI, and he's starting to follow the stock. There's a few other, I know Cameron's in here. There's a few other people that are starting to make some money on this. And I was curious to see what your thoughts are. This guy, Mark Collin, he has been communicating directly with hedge funds and institutional banks and stuff like that on behalf of GMGI. He's been beating the street, man, talking to all kinds of high net worth investors, and he's a fireman. So he's put blood, sweat, and tears into the money he's earned, and he's done a ton of research on why he wanted to do that before he made that decision. So I want to hear what he has to say. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Josh, can you hear me?
Great, man. Yeah.
No, I'm just still in the learning phase. I'm just trying to talk to people a lot smarter than I am and figure out, how this volume is going to affect it and where it's coming from. And if it's some institutions that are starting to shift the position out of retail and more into a bigger percent, but I'll take it, man. It's looking pretty good. I've got some really good feedback from some investment bankers, from some buy-side analysts, from some hedge fund guys, but I'm learning most of their positioning is highly specific to their skill set and their metrics that their each fund meets on and decides in advance. And then there's at a certain point they do a tremendous amount of research before they even establish a position. So I don't know. I'm hoping that this increase in volume is some of these organic positions being taken up.
Shido, you have a comment?
No, I mean, as we said, it's looking much better now. Finally, I was getting a little bit nervous because, like, several days after they, or a few days after they really closed that deal, we still didn't see any interest. That changed now. I guess some instis. I mean, they also need some time to look into stuff. I get that, and it's sometimes it takes a few days or weeks until there is some interest coming, I guess.
Yeah, that's not a guess.
The research they do takes an extended amount of time, and that's one of the advantages a little retail investor has. But there's a lot. There's so much that goes into it that I'm learning.
Yeah.
Well, that's specifically why I invited you up to talk, because we're trying to build a community where investors and traders learn as much as possible, make them more empowered when they're making investment decisions, because we don't want to see people's account blow up. We want to see more liquidity in OTC markets and in small caps and micro caps, because it benefits all of us. So being able to hear the depth of research you're putting in behind and what you're finding out will help people that don't know that information already become stronger investors.
Yeah, I think one of the frustrating things that what you do is so much is what ifs and hearsay, and most of the smart money it's smart for a reason. Those guys are brilliant, a lot of those guys, and they look at every angle of what could go wrong because they can't afford to make mistakes. They lose clients, they lose their job, they lose their reputation, so they're going to err always on the conservative side and not as risky. So, but it's neat having him come at us from, he knows, the guy was talking about the things that went wrong with some of the other companies and what the barriers are in Africa as far as how shady it is and how much money, takes place underneath the table to get these licenses in Brazil and Mexico. And
Brazil's changed.
So there's
that's
a lot
why
that we don't even know about,
Yep. Yeah, Brazil changed. They found out how dirty the gambling market was in Brazil, and they canceled everybody's license. And they went back to the beginning foundation, and they're reforming who has a license and how they have to get it. And a lot of the old casino junkets that were really dirty, they just kicked out. So it's a whole changing of the guard, so to say. And that's one of the benefits of the acquisition, because Meridian Bet has one of the first group of people that will be licensed in the country at all. And they have like top 5 amount of money flowing through them for sportsbook betting.
Yeah, and I try to look at the advantages and what they have as far as increasing their revenue growth in the near future. And it seems like, I don't know what role crypto is going to play, but it is massive in the online gaming, especially the sports betting. Over 50% of all Bitcoin transactions are on gaming. So there's only about 70 casinos, I think, out of thousands that even accept it. So there's an interesting dynamic in the liability that happens between a B2B. They don't have the same, they can plead the fifth. They may not know a licensee is working in an unlicensed area and collecting crypto. Like, you won't see it. Not that I want to compare Evolution with their live gaming to GMGI, but they limit themselves because they're strictly B2B with the liability that comes with those companies operating in areas they shouldn't, or accepting currency that they shouldn't. So they can plead that they don't know. Whereas I don't know how GMGI is a huge opportunity for these casinos to be able to accept crypto. So it'll be interesting to see, how that shakes out and what how their
Well, I want to
systems.
address that briefly because I know Brian is not going to be as vocal about this as we would like him to be, but enter ELRA, El-Ray Gaming. Now, he separated 100% of the crypto-based transactions out of GMGI on purpose because the regulations, the accounting practices, everything is so much different. It would be a headache. So that's where ELRA is, and he's, from my understanding, I don't believe I'm saying anything that's not public knowledge. He's trying to get an entire new set of people to run ELRA so that they can handle 100% crypto transaction processing and be able to white label the gaming licenses and stuff from Gold Matrix Group.
Yeah, I don't know that, how GMGI is going to get around that to get their, accept that.
They'll get a percentage of it because if
Yeah.
ELRA is using Golden Matrix Group games to present to their clients and platforms and just operating with all cryptocurrency instead of cash or whatever fiat, then they'll get a percentage of all the business that goes through El-Ray. That simple. And that'll be on top of whatever else GMGI is making and their profit increase and revenue increase they're seeing every quarter, on top of what Meridian Bet's increasing in profit and revenue every quarter. So it should be just like icing on the cake. Not that it runs the business, but it's nice to see an increase for no reason.
Yeah, I don't have enough information about it. I do know that the CEOs kind of distance themselves. You won't even hear it hardly talk about it, but then the independent researchers, they're attributing a much higher percent of their revenue to crypto, but there's different ways that it's on the down low. So I don't know. I can see why they're not bringing it up.
I have a sneaky suspicion ELRA is going to start having a major tear after they get showing they're producing revenue on the platform. And I expect that's not going to be that long before we see that.
Yeah, I can send you Evolution's model for accepting crypto, and you can look at it and see what you think.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Emir, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? I just want to say I appreciate you guys for letting me speak for a minute. I kind of gave up on trading after investing $40,000 in a penny stock.
Oh, gosh.
And it's been 2.5 years, 3 years since I've been holding it. I'm still holding. I'm down 98%. I just want to know your guys' take where SRMX will go, or what's your guys' opinion on it?
Oh,
Saddle Ranch Media 0002. Ouch.
The problem with answering this question is it's like you heard the doctor one. So it's like you go to the doctor, you say, "Doctor, I have this end stage disease, and I'm in great pain all the time. Should I end it all, or should I wait for a cure?" And the doctor says you should end it, and then the cure comes out the next day. The cure comes out the next day, and then you throw a lightning bolt at the doctor. If who's typing there? And then on the flip side of the coin, If he says, "Oh, just wait it out, it'll be fine," and then and then the person lives in agony for the rest of their life, and so it's very tough to say it will come back, because in looking at it, it doesn't look good, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, our job as people that have been around is more about prevention, I guess. But
Yeah.
anything can happen, but to get 11 billion up off the floor without a
You cut out
major
there for a minute.
merger, without a major merger or something. I
What's
have
your
a
cost
feeling.
average?
Let me check. Give me 1 second. I haven't really looked at it since they transferred everything from my married trade to Charles Schwab.
Yeah, it's been recent. Yeah, I made the switch too. I was one of the first group of people switched from TD to Schwab. Same people are coming over, thank God.
I don't think it even shows me on here. I haven't really.
Well, when did you buy them?
I bought it when it was a penny, but I averaged all the way down to, I think, like 0.002526.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's the probability of getting away with it is low, but it's not zero. And Lord knows we've all had one. So I hope it works, but it would be tough to give you an answer one way or another, without lying. You know what I mean? And so. Maybe one day in the future you start making some smashing trades and need a write off and eat it at
I don't know
some
if
point.
anybody's talking, but I can't hear anybody.
Can you hear me?
Can you
I
hear
can
me?
only hear you.
Okay, so
Okay.
he's saying, it's tough to tell. You really can't predict the future, but at some point, either the stock makes a little pop and you sell at a loss to move into something that's going to give you more of a action on your money, or you can use it as a tax write-off, or sometimes if you hold and have that patience, you'll see a stock completely turn around when you least expect it. But that's part of the game. So one of the things that Pat was teaching people when we had a Q&A with him was the 5 things to know about penny stock investing, and it's really important to always set a stop loss. I mean, if you have $40,000 and you're buying in at a penny, if that stock drops to 0.008 and you have a stop loss in, you only lost a little bit of money. Yes, you had a loss, but you still have the bulk of your money that you can use to move into another investment and hopefully do better. Whereas now your bag so far, if you were to sell it, just make you mad.
Yeah. Amir, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I guess you like the story. That's why you average down.
Correct.
All the way. Yeah. I mean, if you get back into trading, and especially the OTC, I mean, I don't know if you will do. I mean, you got to have the number one thing is you have to diversify. I mean, you will not survive otherwise. It's almost impossible. Anything bad can happen to any of these stocks, and you have to big time diversify and spread your risk and have a money management in place. If you do this in the future, I mean, then if you do some clever trading, you can get back some money. That's not the thing. Just not do that again because you like a story or something. And also anybody else should listen to this. Just diversify. As Long Bully said, he's taking a gamble, but he knows it's a gamble. That's the first thing. That's important to know. And a gamble, you don't put 50% of your account into a gamble. And if you know it's a gamble, then everything is good. Then you spread around gambles because that's what we do in the OTC, and that's all fine, Just for the future. diversify if you come back trading, and I hope you do.
And a few things about due diligence, it's going to be your best friend, because when you look at the securities details on OTC markets, you'll see this stock has over 10 billion in their float, and they've maxed out their authorized shares at 15 billion shares authorized. What that means is they have to trade a substantial amount of volume for that stock to move. And their volume today was only 105,000 shares. So that's why it was down. I mean, when you look at a share structure of a company and they have more than 1 billion shares in the float, you got to be really cautious. Don't put 100% of your money into it. It's just you'll find yourself in positions like this. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I did. I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying that Saddle Ranch won't come back. I hope they do. Honestly, maybe they have something cooking, but most likely their share structure is like that because they have a ton of toxic debt, or they had toxic debt and they've all converted, and that's why their share structure is so horrible.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Nope. You can't hear me at all, Amir?
No, that's it. Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your input on this. I guess at this point it is what it is. I mean, I'm already down 98%, so might as well hold it for years to come and see if it does anything.
Yeah, just follow it. Not that you miss a spike or something. And sometimes spikes happen. In every stock, a spike could happen. A short-lived spike usually in these. But just follow it, and if it spikes, get something out at least partly. And if it runs more and more, you get more and more out. Just play it safe a little bit in case it runs again.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
One other bit of information that really helps traders, and some people know it, some don't. But if you have people can't short against the shares that are in or that have been placed in an order. So if you bought 100 million shares of this stock, and you're bagged, but you can't watch it 24/7. If you have 100 million shares for sale at say 1 cent, which would give you some type of return on your investment, you can put it in good till cancel, and it will also take those shares out for market makers and other people to use on the short side. I mean, I'm not going to fully explain that. Maybe Shido can, but if you don't have your shares,
not much lower to go though. Right?
That's true.
On this one.
I did hear about that before. I'm definitely going to take a look into it.
Just take what you have in position, figure out where your cost average is, and put a sell order in above your cost average, good till cancel. That way, if it pops during the day and you're not there, at least you'll get filled on some of your shares, if not all, depending on how big your position is. And it also takes that number of shares off the table from being able to be shorted or manipulated by market makers or other people with more money that have the ability to do that.
I got you. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you guys. Let me head out, and I got to take my kids to soccer practice. I wish I could continue listening to you guys talk.
Well, we'll have a recording.
I truly do appreciate all the information.
No, and thanks for. Oh, he can't hear me. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate you coming on here. Thanks for coming up and asking a question too.
Thank you, guys.
You can listen to the recording, Emir.
Okay.
Later.
I will.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, who's up next? Alex Sunderland. Come up and talk, man. Invite to speak. I know you got a few stocks you're looking at. I've been following the posts you put out. By all means, you have been sent an invite.
What a comeback of SDRC. Wow. What a dump 2 days ago. That was crazy.
SDRC?
Yeah, Alex will explain it. But really nice reaction from the company. that's exactly what you need to do after such a dump, and it's right back up. It's great.
Alex, go ahead. What's up? Give us a rundown.
Sorry, guys. Had to put a DoorDash order in for the kids. Yeah, SDRC, man. Yeah, everybody was worried about it a little bit. Totally understandable. But when you've been around, I guess if you've been on the stock or an investor on it as long as I have, it's probably the third or fourth time this shit's happened since I've been around. And the true testament, like, somebody was saying, I think it was Shitgo, he was saying, it shows how strong it is, how quickly it returns. And, the reason, a little knowledge for everybody, a reason that big dip happens on SDRC, for example, and you see it on other stocks too, but SDRC in particular, because it's so old, okay, you actually don't see too many more in the OTC, I guess, when I think about it. The stock originally is from like 1918, very old. So what it is there's some certs out there from sometimes decades ago. And sometimes, a random broker will get a hold of one for cheap. And that's why days like that happen, but that's been an ongoing thing on SDRC.
Well, it was sure a hell of a recovery. I'll tell you what, it was great to see. And when I saw it dip down, I was like, oh gosh, and all the work you put in, and what a recovery. So I'm really happy for you on it.
They do everything, I guess, you would want to see a big board company do. I talk about SDRC a lot because I always want other OTC companies to emulate what they do, in terms of funding, in terms of like shareholder transparency, PRs, social media. They do it all right, and they do it honest. And I think that's the answer, at least for investing in a lot of these, right? And SDRC has an exciting summer ahead. Guys, I've been here for so many years, but we've been working towards what's happening this year, all these years, right? Which is production. Most mines never get here in the first place. It's like 1 to 5,000, 1 out of 10,000 ever make it to production from where SDRC started. So that alone is a mega deal. And that's why it's getting the attention it does, and why it has the strength it does. It's a rare feat what they're accomplishing. And then, on top of that, those 1 or 2 that do make it out of the tons, most of the time they're laden with debt. They're laden with shitty convertibles.
Let me ask you something before you go on. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Just to give some of the traders on here a little clearer picture, without getting too deep, because I know it'd take a long time to explain. Can you share with them the steps that a company has to take to go from exploration to production? Because I know there's quite a few monumental steps and approvals and licenses and all that crap that has to happen, so they can get a better understanding of like how to appreciate the fact they're a producing mining company.
Yeah, I would say, I guess to try to make it as short as possible. What we're doing, number one, with SDRC is way faster than I would say most processes even go. And that's what's so incredible about it. I would say most of the time it takes 10 to 15 years to get where SDRC has gotten in about, 4 to 5 years. So that by itself is incredible. And that process starts with, exploration, which that alone, I would say, takes 2 to 3 years. And what that is if you kind of look at XTPT, BRGC, other investments of ours, they're kind of in the middle of that exploration stage, which is sending, teams of geologists out. A lot of times engineering firms like Stantec with BRGC, they go out, they take hand samples. It's all the stuff before drilling. So,
Yep. Core
XRF.
samples, seismic testing. They
Yeah,
have like drones that can fly over ground and study the contents that are below through what
exactly.
there's a
If you
and it
look,
and you don't get a penny back for all the money you put into the exploration phase. So you better hope you bought good land.
correct. And and that's why I guess it's risky. That's probably the riskiest aspect of the stage is you don't really know what you're investing in yet. You're taking a chance based off of what you're seeing on the ground so far, right? Um, if you actually, speaking of satellite testing, a great example was the XTPT News today. They had satellite imaging. They did a whole tour of their results today. It's the antimony company. But yeah, you go through usually 2 to 3 years of that exploration stage, and then you go into permitting and drilling typically, which is the stage that the other stock I was going to talk about tonight, BYRG, why that one is moving into a critical stage as well. They're moving into that stage, the permitting and the drilling stage, which is a big step forward to move on for one of these companies to move out of exploration into permitting and drilling. It's a major step forward, just like moving from permitting and drilling to production is a major step forward, right? So that's what's happening on BYRG this summer, while SDRC this summer is moving into production. Kind of give you guys an idea what's going on. I would say permitting and drilling stage, once again, if you're doing it fast, you're seeing what you want to see, like we're trying to do with these companies. We're trying to do it way faster than what America's used to. 2 to 3 years, once again, in that stage is what we're trying to accomplish. And then hopefully, if the drilling's good, development's good, you're getting your permits in those 2 to 3 years. That's when you can start to go into revenue production, and you're one of those few that make it. I would say JRC and Kiko and everybody. I would say most of these things fucking fail. At
Yep.
least on the Canadian side and on the Australian side. I'll be honest with you. What I see a lot of times is they pick shitty locations. They really do. Like SDRC, they're in Idaho, but what they did, guys, is they have a patented property. So because they have a patented property, it's private property. So their permitting requirements are significantly less than most companies, and it will always be that way. Patented property will never change. It's like part of American constitutional law. It's never going to change. And so that's kind of what's special about SDRC and why they were able to move into production a lot easier too, is because they have patented property.
Can
But
you hear
yeah,
me at all?
Alaska.
No.
I see so many of these companies. They go into Alaska as a great example. Permitting is hell on earth over there.
Yep.
A lot of it's
America's
about
been really good
location.
at finding ways to get their hands in a pot. So, I mean, most properties in America are quite challenging to go through governmental approvals and EPA approvals and whatever else you have to go through. It's been, there's a
Exactly.
lot of red tape.
Yeah. And that,
Hey,
for BYRG guys, that's kind of the big news we're waiting for next, is they're going through that permitting stage, right? So they're waiting on BLM and Forest Service. They have to go through two agencies. Two agencies have to approve what BYRG wants to do this year, which is drilling underground. They're going to take big ass drills underground. They're going to punch holes 300 feet into the ground, right? Really cool
core
shit.
samples.
Core samples. Yep.
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 That's where you get proof in the pudding that, hey, the readings came back and said, I have this. This is proof I have it. Because their next stage is going to be, I need money to start producing. So they're
Yep.
going to want people to invest a whole nother round of money just so they can get enough to actually put all the equipment on the ground and start ripping into the earth to get back the money they put in.
Yep. 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 Exactly. And it's just about building the higher floors. Every time we went through that stage with SDRC, there was a private race. And it's just like I always say with all these companies, it goes for all the OTC companies. It's all about how you do it. It's all about how you do the funding. You can do it the wrong way, you can do it the right way. It's easy as that. There's a
If you got proof that you have lithium or gold or whatever, it's a lot easier to do funding, and that's why being able to see what SDRC is doing is compelling. That's cool.
Yeah, and they've done very well raising money. You know, and like I made a comment on Twitter the other day, they raised 750 grand at 30 cents recently, guys. And that's with 2-year restrictions. So 30 cents, 750 grand, 2-year restrictions before those shares can be sold. That's the kind of potential that private investors are seeing. You know, that's pretty goddamn impressive. So, you know.
Agreed.
Not much love, everyone. You know, thanks for having me on as always, guys. You know, check out the XTPT news from today. That's kind of a cool preview into, you know, satellite imagery and what that's all about. It's kind of neat.
Oh, and by the way, thanks for giving us a follow back.
I have some of this as well of the XTPT.
Oh yeah, that's a special one, man. It's a special asset. I really think, especially after seeing the satellite imagery there, I think it's a massive deposit on XTPT. Absolutely massive.
Yeah, I don't have much clue about that industry, but I heard you talking about it that you like it, and I know you have experience in that stuff. I'm always happy to take a lot of position or something in even if I don't understand the industry.
Yeah,
from an outside perspective, there's some old school investors that only invest in mining companies.
Oh yeah. You definitely got your own little, you know, that's what I love in the OTC. You know, I tell a lot of people I like mining companies in the OTC in particular because it's very easy for me to figure out who's a scam and who's not, because everything is so documented and on paper, like through agencies, through the BLM. You can go out to the properties if they're in America, which is all I invest in anymore is mining properties in America. You can go out there, you can look at them, you can bring your own testing equipment, you know, and see if they're speaking the truth. It's that kind of stuff, you know. That's why I like mining and the OTC. There's so many scams, but at least with mining, you can kind of be like, okay, the property's legit. These guys are actually trying to do shit out here. I'll take a shot on them. You know, these guys are real. I can see it with my own eyes.
Ones that aren't real, like for instance, TINO. Just to throw out a mining company that was, I apologize. I know the CEO, whatever, POS. I mean, they talk about their mining rights, they talk about their land, but they don't ever produce any type of real samples or evidence that they have substantial minerals or whatever they're mining for in the ground. They just talk a bunch of sparks and they ask for money and they don't ever do anything. It's a sad money pit. But
yeah, that's still 90% of them, man. Sadly.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, much love as always. Thanks for having me on and letting me ramble a little bit. And it's always nice being here. And shout out to all you guys who support what we're doing. And we really appreciate it. We're just going to keep working away, you know, level by level, stage by stage. You know, steady and slow. We're never in a rush. We're just trying to do things right. That's the most important thing to us.
Agreed.
Have a good one. Thanks.
Yeah, guys. Thanks as always.
Thanks, Alex. Who's up next? Raise your hands, man. Get involved in the conversation. We're here to talk up all OTC stocks. So if you have one you want to put on the table for conversation, by all means, let's get her done. Who is this? OTC Kiko stocks. Why are you did you get kicked or something?
We couldn't hear him anymore, or somebody couldn't hear him, so I guess he logged out and on again.
I'm back. I had to log off and on. Thanks a lot, Sonny. That was really great. I was talking, but no one could hear me. Can anyone hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard you before as well, but some others
I don't
couldn't.
think anyone else could. So
Yeah.
I'm here now.
I just invited you to co-host. Sorry about the asking you to speak. I pushed the wrong button by accident.
No. I think it defaulted to Shido, so I'm just a passenger now, man. Just here
No,
for
hey
the
man,
ride.
I don't want to take your place.
It's too late. What's done is done. I'm afraid. What's done is done. I get it. Jeez. Anyone else have anything on their mind?
Yeah. Lisa, man.
Yeah, stock awareness. What's on your mind?
ONEI. Have y'all talked about that one?
What is it again?
ONEI.
Oh, sure. This is what is this? One meta AI.
Yeah, have y'all talked about it already?
Not today.
I noticed, assuming y'all saw January 3rd of 24, there was the Microsoft and One Meta team update on Google. There was an article, and then on, let's see here, in October 4th of last year is when they talked about the initial launch of the Verbum call at a micro conference that Microsoft was at. So, I mean, is Microsoft going to buy these guys, or are they partnering with them? I mean, do y'all know the story?
No, not at all. I mean, I've watched the stock, and it's been
I have
a tough trade, for sure.
April, it was what 18 cents or 20 cents, and then in January was 53, and then it was 87 on April 12th, and then I don't know what it closed at today.
Yeah, like when you look at that chart, I mean, it makes some moves up and it makes some moves down, but the moves take like 2 months. And, not that that's bad, but it would probably be very tough to be in and be comfortable.
Well, what I was looking at is, unless I'm reading the wrong thing, their revenue grew 5,300%.
I did see that. Yeah, that was excellent, that news. Very good.
Year gain of 1,378%. 5-year forecast that I found online is $2.01. I don't know. Well, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is if Microsoft is just doing business with them, or if they're going to buy them, because they own that multilingual software that converts 40 languages in like 1 second. It's much faster than anybody else's conversion.
I don't know. What do you think about it for the future?
I don't know. I mean, I got a piece of it. I bought a piece of it. I don't know. I know that SEC delisted them in 22 because they thought they were lying, and they brought Microsoft with them because the CEO wrote an article about it, Roland Day. They brought Microsoft to SEC, and that's how they got relisted after they had a caveat emptor. So, I mean, it must be that real that Microsoft would actually go with them to the SEC.
I guess we'll see.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well,
Hey, you still getting feedback on my mic?
It's better now.
Okay.
A little bit, but it's better now.
ARLSF. Y'all talk about that one?
No.
No.
What's the scoop?
Let's see here. I mean, it had a move today.
Look like the company's putting money back into their own self, investing their own money back in, which I always like. I don't know a lot about them. I don't know if anybody else here has studied them or not.
I don't know. I've never even heard of it. I'm just looking it up.
Well, apparently, a lot of chatter about it everywhere.
This is the living Argo Living Soils. ARLSF.
Oh, I've heard about that company. I actually talked to them.
Oof.
It's interesting. I mean, I like plants.
Is it?
But
It's
not a huge buzz. I don't know where you got that from. I haven't seen him everywhere.
If you Twitter tag it with the $, I mean, there's a ton of people on it.
What was it again? The ticker again?
ARLS as in Saint.
Yeah, Argo.
The other one which has had no activity literally, but it's 10 cents, is N as in Nancy, B as in boy, as in Nancy, D as in dog. Any of y'all ever been on that one? NBND. QB fully reporting, not structure.
You got Super Robot on Arlo?
Net Brands.
That brand.
Yeah. The Net Brands. Sure, good setup. Jeez Louise. Anything going on with them?
Yeah, but I talked to a few people today that said they were really interested.
In what? What about it?
It's a good revenue, and then apparently they lost their distribution for the product. That see what's developed. Like I said, we're following it, but
We're having a lot of trouble with. Is it just me or is his connection trouble?
No, he is breaking up.
I can't hear really. Maybe you want to try again.
Okay. Looks like I got a bad signal.
Yeah, because this is an interesting setup. The last one,
I'm gonna drop.
Yeah, most of the chatter on ARLSF has been you, Chase Mack, and Super Robot. So it seems like it's just your group talking about it, which is cool. Not trying to down it. I mean, I thought they had a reasonably good company. I approached them about some IR stuff, but I just didn't think they had enough put together to be doing it at the moment. So I chose not to work with them.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really understand their business model, so
Nope.
I wasn't sure.
And if they don't have their business model in line, it's kind of hard to really do our job as investor relations professionals, At least that's my idea.
Yeah. Now, this other one, this NBND, if they did a 10K, their income was good for a while, and then it dropped off. And from what I understand, they were selling to Costco, and then it wasn't because they didn't have the business, but they couldn't fill the purchase orders because their source of product dropped out from India. So they're currently sourcing a different distribution company. That's I think where they're at.
Okay. Interesting. Really nice setup. I mean, they could absolutely moon that for sure.
Yeah,
that's a good setup.
Thinking.
But it's just how they go about it, I guess.
What's
Because I feel like I remember this one. Yeah, I do. Yeah, a little bit of effort there on the volume side. It could do quite well. I see that. Yeah, they haven't like they have been selling, but not really recently.
What's the ticker again?
NBND, Net Brands.
Yeah, and I don't think it was the CEO selling. From what I understand, there was one. The guy doesn't do toxic debt. You can tell from the books. I think he did one loan for this distribution change that he's working on, and that's where a little bit of selling came from. But like you said, I mean, it's been quiet since then, so it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll
All right,
keep an eye on it.
sounds
sure.
good. All right, thank you.
All right. Anyone else with anything on their mind? Go ahead and get a hand up. We got a ton of familiar faces here. It's so nice to see. Or any questions for me or anyone else? Happy to answer.
There was one request like 20 minutes ago, but I think somebody else talked then and he's gone now. I don't know. I don't remember who it was.
B.
He's not here
Casper,
anymore.
TA Trader, what's up? Guys, raise your hand. Join the conversation. If you're looking at stocks, you want us to take a look at it, by all means, raise your hand and let's get this going. We have a request from Wild Horizon Trade.
Oh, I'd love to hear. It's been so long since we chatted. Love to hear from Wild Horizon. How are you doing?
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Hey.
All right. All right. Hey, Shido, nice to see you, sir.
Hey, man. Good to
I
hear
was
you.
I was gonna bring up IWAL. I don't know if you guys have discussed it or not. I missed the beginning.
Not on this space, but on prior ones we have. It is interesting. I'm
Okay.
really interested to hear what they have going on. You heard
Yeah,
anything?
me too. I haven't heard anything. My suspicion is that they're getting it set up for a merger. I don't see in the so early on last year when I was speaking with Shido about it, when they came out of Expert, I noticed the change in the notes where they were able to take old note holders and have them convert out to '06 per share and have a leak out provision of 12.5% per quarter, which I found really interesting because you don't ever really see things like that. And then I also thought to myself, why would a note holder who's been stuck here for years do something like that? They had to have shown them something to make them want to make that deal, was my thought. So I just didn't know if you guys had talked about it before, but
Well, I wasn't really aware of that part, but certainly, I've been keenly interested on the setup for definitely a
I'm
couple
keeping my
weeks
eye on it
now.
for that.
Yeah.
BEC. It's a
No,
reverse.
we haven't talked about it yet. I am familiar with it. What's the latest that you're finding?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's very similar to IGPK where these reverse mergers, they're having to clean up years of neglect from the previous management. And man, wading through it
What's the
sucks. Yeah, and she's a little thick too. She has 7 bill authorized, 5.8 bill outstanding. I mean, she runs a little thick. So I think if people are going to be interested in that, you got to go in knowing that, hey, could be a very similar situation to IGPK. I mean, you have to really have conviction in the story. And I know sometimes in the OTC, waiting it out can be a little risky because things move so fast. So you got to be a little careful with this one. But it's been confirmed. They had an event, and it clearly shows in the DD that FBEC is the ticker they reverse merged with. But there's no financials, and they're years behind on the financials. So man, it's gonna. Yeah, it's rough. You got to wait this one out. I'm willing to wait it out. There's some plays better for day trading and swinging, but yeah, this one has got to wait a little bit.
Well, shouts out to you for your conviction on it. It looks like it was a bit of a tough day today. I was wondering if it possibly had just had a little dipsy doodle there because people who were in it also went for wander ports, which can always happen in this market. And so maybe they'll be back. But yeah, it will be really nice to see if we could maybe wrap our head around some figures in terms of what they're worth. Like I think that would be excellent.
Yeah, because a lot of the DD, I could say, oh, Vietnam emerging market. I can say, there's definitely a few 100,000 users, but that's all implied, right? Until we get actual financials, just like IGPK, all we can do is imply that, they're doing well or whatever the story may be. So, I mean, yeah, and apparently because they're pink limited, they're not on all available for trading on all platforms. So right now, I mean, I don't like to say it, but it can be manipulated. I mean, it's low volume. It can move up or down pretty violently. So if whoever's in it or if anyone's going to be in it, you gotta know it's going to be rough holding on and not, you know, you know what I mean, selling or buying on a whim. I mean, yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, well, I think it looks okay. The one thing that it has going for it, which I know is very hot in 2024, is videotape of people in Asia at a banquet hall. You know what I mean? Which I know is very hot with IGPK. So we do have that,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
But
There's no secret on that. It's definitely it's there. It's just, man, cleaning up these things from previous management. It's a slow grind, man. And I think you've seen enough of those to know it takes a while. And some people, because it's the OTC, I think there's a lot of we already know kind of how the game is played, and it can be a rough ride just waiting it out. But I mean, it could pay off yeah.
I hope it turns out great. And wouldn't it be a lovely surprise? I mean, if you've got a great entry, wouldn't it be a lovely surprise if they just popped up with some like mega revenues? You know what I mean? Like it would just be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in that 0017, so I mean, I don't, I'm in it fairly low, I guess. I mean, I think at the very bottom it was trips, maybe 4 or 5, something like that.
Well, that's you know, uh,
Hey, can you hear me?
holding up pretty well. It's
Yep, can
holding
hear
up
you.
pretty well, except for today. But then it came back.
They gotta get current so we can buy it. I mean, TDA doesn't allow it because it's yield and unsolicited. That combination is never good. Canada has a cease trade on it. I have like 5 brokers, I think, and I couldn't buy it. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons too. Is, I mean, yeah, there's very little volume right now.
Yeah, I mean E-Trade, it has E-Trade and which is important, but TDA would be good for sure. I still don't know about Schwab because I don't have an account at Schwab. I don't know if Schwab in the meantime now allows unsolicited with yield. I have no idea. But TDA does not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because of the current financial climate and just the way things are, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think these reverse mergers with companies in Asia that don't want to IPO, I mean, I guess it depends on how IPO is interpreted, but for a traditional IPO, seems like the reverse merger plays is kind of a growing thing right now. I feel like,
Yeah,
a
it
lot of,
is absolutely. We see a lot of apparently good companies or like bigger companies than usual going that route lately. Yeah.
Welcome back, Josh.
Yeah, I had to invite my other account to speak, and then I couldn't speak, and I was like, never mind.
Yeah, it sounded like you. What is that movie, Inception? You were in Inception.
That was wild. Now
We're glad you're out of the Inception. Well,
Hey,
thank
we
you,
made it through
RJ.
it.
Certainly eyes on.
Yeah.
Certainly eyes on there.
yep, definitely.
Thank you. But today was sure a pretty positive day. I was really happy to see some more than anything, some real price action, and hopefully it encourages people to start taking more of a look. You know, I've always said that, you know, this is all I ever wanted to do, really, and it's nice to hear that there's still people carrying the flame with me, but be even nicer if we got some movement, and today was sure really nice. That's for sure.
There are positive stories out of trading, and there's quite a few. I'll have to get some of my friends to come up. I mean, the guy that does the graphics for our spaces, he creates the YouTube videos. He told me about a testimony on his investing, and this guy has zero experience in investing, but his wife got an internship at Tesla. And because she liked the company, he went and put like $500-600 into Tesla over a period of a month. And he doesn't know the first thing about investing. Fast forward a few years, they have a baby. They both don't have work at the moment. And he's like, well, what can we do to fund ourselves, you know, our family? And he went and looked at his Tesla stock, and it was worth over 10 grand. So he was able to sell his stock and be able to take care of things that his family needed to. And this guy's never invested a day in his life. That was his first time. Yeah, so there are positive stories, and if you find a really good company and you carefully put what you can afford to lose in it, it might really pay off in huge dividends, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely right. Well, it's nice to hear. Nice to see some Buffalo Fireside. How are you holding up? Anything on your radar, pal?
Just sent you an invite, Buffalo.
Moshu, nice to see you, man. That video game action I've been watching. So cool. But that's too like I see you doing that. It's too smart for me. It's like
What do
you're
you
doing
mean?
magic. How are you doing?
Great. How you doing?
Doing rather well. You know, overall this year hasn't been too bad. You know, a couple bumps in the road. I did reach out to NUMD, basically about their acquisition, and that's the big real estate play that I like. I like the self-storage space in the real estate industry. He says that they're looking to close next week. So that's great news there. And there was some confusion in regards to like what your space realty firm or brokerage it would be, or storage space it would be. Sorry. So I was literally cutting chicken wings, by the way, right when you called me up. But I put down the wings for this group, that's for sure.
How are you cooking them?
Well, I'm cutting them up and I'm frying them. That's what we do.
Are you brining them first?
No, we cut them and fry them. That's it.
You see that's let's keep it simple, right?
It's
Keep
all
it
about
simple.
It's all about the stuff you toss it in after you cook them. So
Listen
you gotta
to
have
me, Mr. Fancy.
We're doing typical Buffalo hot out here, guys. That's it.
There you go.
But no, so like it looks like they're going to be closing, and I guess this Your Space America, based on what I've heard with a couple of my connections, it is supposed to be bigger than the company that we had it confused on. So I want to see the numbers, and I want to see the timeline, and I want to see the terms to this. They do have a convertible, but the convertible is Your Space America. That's the only convertible note that they have in there. So the fact that the merging company is the convertible note, I'm very excited about that element, that there's not notes everywhere or whatever. But so that's one thing I'm looking at is NUMD. And the other one is AHRO. I did reach out to the president. I did talk to Chris Giordano, I'm sorry, and he is hell bent on making sure that this gets done within the next couple of days. He is busting his ass to do it. And I told him right out, I go, this is like a one-shot deal, because like that ruins sentiment when you screw up like that. And that's not screwing up. It's just like, because let's be real, a lot of these companies all the time have to delay their filings. I mean, look at my beloved ILS with the damn extension, you know, and it kicks, it really kicks, you know, it drives me insane that they can't get filings done on time. That should be a priority. But he understands that he's going to get it done come hell or high water, and he's going to make sure he has a team on it so that it doesn't happen for the quarterlies as well, because it destroys momentum. Like that stock had really good momentum. We were sharing a lot of information on it, and then it was like a swift kick to the nuts. You know, so I mean, like, you know, it's like, all right, hand up the skirt, then you get slapped. I don't know, but So that one I'm actually very excited about. I think once he starts dropping news, and he already has dropped significant news in regards to Maybach's Global, like they're getting all these stations, like they have the app on Roku. I've downloaded it, I've watched it. It's legit. But it's amazing, it's the OTC. You can't make a mistake, not mistake. I keep saying it's a mistake. You can't not have your shit together and not have repercussions for it. So, so those two I'm looking at a lot, and I'm hopefully it's going to be a good week coming up for those guys. So that's all I got. You guys have a great night. I'm going to just listen in if that's all right.
For sure.
Hey,
Thanks
man,
for
get back
coming
to the
on.
wings. Listen, just one question before you go. Is it
Yeah.
after you do the buffalo hot sauce, are you going to add blue cheese or ranch?
Listen. If I'm outside right now on the deck, all right. I
Yeah.
know what I have to answer. I might get sniped out if I answer the wrong question. The truth is, we do blue cheese, baby. That's what we do.
Yeah.
There you go. Correct
All right.
answer.
You guys have a great night.
Moshe,
you
how
too.
you doing?
Neither.
Now,
Hey
that was the
guys, what's
biggest
up?
question of the night because there's always that play. Do you use blue cheese or ranch on your hot wings?
So you guys wish list my game, and I will be releasing or rolling it into an OTC shell. So look for the
Oh my
ticker.
God.
It's
Awesome.
coming. Dollar sign
Wait. Do you need a
MOSAQ.
shell? Hey,
Honestly,
Bushu, do you need
I have an
contact with a shell?
I'm not I'm still a couple years away from full release or whatever, but I'm marketing and all that crap. But I'm working under an LLC technically, but honestly, the idea has crossed my mind.
It's a lot easier to raise money for you to expand what you're doing. Is the point? I mean, that's why people get into a vehicle. I mean, honestly.
Okay. Well, see, yeah, that's where I'm right now. I'm funding all the assets and all that. Like anything I'm purchasing or doing for the video game, all the expenses are coming out of my disposable.
So let me ask you a question. How do you think, and this is something you should be asking yourself rhetorically, how do you think investors would see that you're putting 100% of the funding from your own pocket into this? Do you think they could buy into the fact that you really believe in it and get behind that?
Yeah, when it comes to
What's
indie
your
video
holdup?
games, so this is kind of the natural progression. Now the OTC spin on indie video game development is where we'll kind of go next, but typically a publisher will approach me or I'll approach them with my game and they'll fund me and they'll take a percentage of the revenue until they recouped the funding that they gave me as a publisher, and the publisher will go out there, market the fuck out of it, stuff like that. That's kind of how indie game or video games work, or like me and indie dev. But if I were to raise my own funds via shell kind of approach,
Well, then they would just buy out your company rather than buy your video game. Potentially, unless you're
that can happen.
unless you're a
Yeah.
holdings company and you spin out your games or create your games as an acquisition target and give a dividend to your shareholders. There's all kinds of ways you could structure it, but ultimately, if you
Yeah.
plan on creating more than this game, you could create a vehicle that would help fund each one of your projects. And after you have a successful one, and say you launch this game, say you get a shell, say you get your company in it, your LLC, and then you create this game, and a major brand buys it out. That's your portfolio. So the next game you go to present, and you're like, "Hey, I'm working on another game." Your investors are going to get behind it even more. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see a negative here in you considering becoming a public vehicle. I worked with a few gaming companies, and
All
they
right.
did really, really well.
Yeah, it's just I'm a single guy, so I do have a composer who's working with me on, just like, if we're both working free till the end, and then he gets a cut. But other than that, shit, yeah, that was a joke when I came up here.
Well, hey, many a great things happen by accident.
Yeah, yeah, damn. What's your thoughts, Kiko?
Yeah,
I mean,
Hey,
listen, I've been
follow
watching
us,
the
man, and
game.
DM us.
Yeah, I've been watching you
Yeah.
make the game. I pop in on your stream sometimes. I just think it's really exciting as far as merging into a shell goes. I mean, it's something to think about. And if you go on Deal Stream, there are guys like you'd be shocked at the amount of companies out here that you think are like fine that are just begging someone to take a shell.
Yep.
Huh.
Tons.
Okay.
Like, yeah,
So
go
what's
on
And
your
Deal
if you're
Stream.
willing
so
to let them
spitball
have
the
a
like
share
initial
position,
cost? Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
if you're
But,
willing to let them keep some equity, they'll do it cheap too, because they
you,
still want to get something back out of their original investment.
you could also make a token for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still, I still like my stocks. But it could do both. Like how the token route though, what that would be on Solana or whatever.
Yeah, on Solana probably you could do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
Hey,
dabbled in crypto, but it's been a while. Like I haven't really been active in the space.
I've heard there's this guy named Pat that can help you with establishing a coin.
Does sound like it. Does sound like. Damn it! This is just like I'm so glad I hopped up on here because now you guys got my brain flowing here.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, because honestly, the biggest roadblock to the game project for me is it's not the
Money.
code, it's not the programming. Yeah, it's the artist, the 3D modeling, and the textures and stuff. Like
Yeah.
what I've been doing is purchasing those things from asset stores where I can use them commercially in my game legally. So I've got thousands and thousands of models, but I need, like one artist that I could get funded would help me accelerate my timeline to the fucking early access on Steam and whatnot exponentially. Because that's really where I've got every other thing fucking solved, and I'm learning the 3D modeling and the art stuff. I'm very artistic, but it comes to a crawl when I can't just sit there and slang the code, and I'm going back and forth from creating art content. So shit, yeah, I'm gonna DM you guys. I'm gonna yeah.
I have
Yeah.
access to people with
Maybe
shells,
something
so
there.
let me know.
Yeah.
And then you can
Yeah,
run by
let's
Pat.
definitely talk.
You can run by Pat the stock structure and stuff like that, and make sure. I mean, not that I can't help with that too, but Pat would really be good at looking at the stock structure and financials and telling you, hey, this looks like a good vehicle to be in, and I have a connection to all the things you need to make it run.
It would be a fucking hell of a story. Like
We can even do your IR for
launch
you. I mean, that's
a
what.
game studio over you. Yeah, yeah.
Not
There's a
to
lot
plug,
of potential
not to
there.
plug, but if you go to jramsdell.com, you'll find Pat's bio in there and mine, because we actually have an IR firm, and if you need some help, man, that's what we're here for.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking. Definitely.
All right.
All right, man. Exciting. Good for
Yeah.
you. It's so nice. It's been so cool. Like just like popping in, watching you work on it. It's all coming together now, and I think it's awesome. And yeah, maybe there's a way to fund it through a shell or whatever. But
Yeah.
and if you do bring a shell to me, I promise I won't call it a bag right away. You know what I mean? Like I want to.
But then it wouldn't be the authentic experience.
Okay. 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 I'll call it a bag like right out of hand first, and then we'll talk about it. How about that?
Yeah, all right. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Yeah. Because and again, for me, since I was 11 years old and I played Final Fantasy VII on PS1, I went to the fucking library on the computer to Google how do you build video games.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's what sparked my whole career. Like I work in a Fortune 500, one of the top 15 Fortune 500s as a software engineer. But game design has always been my passion. It is my life's goal to release a game to the market. And now that I have this disposable income from my career, I am the closest I've ever been. And yeah, with your guys' help, maybe we'll get to that finish line even faster. So fucking thanks for the ideas, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you get a ton of exposure being a stock too. I mean, because when you put out a press release and have actual things happening, you'll find people that they come out of the woodwork to learn about your company that you wouldn't have found normally. I mean, marketing is your biggest key because I mean, obviously you have to have people play your game. I mean, if you make the best game in the world, but you don't have players or the marketing behind it or the exposure, it may not do well. But as a public company, you're putting out news consistently about the progression and the changes that are happening and the stages you're getting to and how close you are to launch. I mean, it'll build momentum that'll play out in a huge way. That's just,
And
anyways.
my journey is completely documented on live streams. There's like very few times I'm off stream building. So anyone that was wanted to invest or, like was looking at me and like my dedication to this thing, like it's all right there. Like you can watch hours and hours of it.
That's
So
pretty cool.
I'm trying to build the community and market, but I'm shit at marketing. So yeah, this is definitely something I'm interested in.
All right.
Well, I'm excited to watch it, and if there's any way I can help, I'm not that technically savvy, but if there's anything else,
I got all that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't have it. So yeah, other stuff for sure.
Yeah, sweet man.
I'll go
Anyways,
to the
I was gonna give
game convention. I'll go to that and be like, come on,
play this. This is not a bag.
Okay.
This is not
play
a bag.
This game. Play this.
No,
game.
I've been thinking about an OTC mobile app that I was gonna build a game for the OTC. It's a mobile app to get funding. It's gonna be like this, like little quick, like I don't know, some game where you're trying to like dodge bags or something. And that is how I was gonna fund my game. That's one of my funding ideas. Was
You
come
call
back
it
to the
bid whackers.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Beer money flippers.
Oh, that's crazy.
MS. Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Well, nice to hear from you, man.
Yep. I'm gonna hop back to listening. I gotta do some things.
All right, we'll finish making that game, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
No, I'll be in touch. I'll send you guys some DMs and we'll continue this conversation.
Okay. Yep.
Absolutely do.
All right. Later, guys.
Thanks, Moshe.
Well, anyone else got something on their mind?
Yeah, we've had a fun conversation so far. It's been a good day. Let's close this out strong. Hulk, you got anything to say? Johnny Be Good, Rest of Development, Art of the J, Spots Trader, what's up, man? I mean, you can always come up and talk. You don't just have to talk crap on Twitter or X. Can't believe Nicholas didn't come back on.
This guys, this NUMD that Eric brought up, this is interesting now if they close the merger, because they just had that filing on SOS with that amendment to some designation for some preferred shares. So they're gonna do this now. They need the preferreds for the merger. Still a good setup. I like this a lot. And thanks, Pat, for getting that amendment for me.
Yeah, I just totally forgot about it. But yeah, it was good to see that amendment. There was nothing nasty in it.
Impossible for me to be able to order an amendment on a document on Utah SOS for years now. I have tried an hour yesterday. I've talked to the chat, everything. It's impossible. It doesn't take my payment. I don't know why. So that was great to see what they are up to.
Well, that's really good. Yeah, absolutely.
So they clearly, let's see how big that merger is. I think you still like the self-storage stuff as well, right? You want to see some numbers, right?
I do. I mean, I like the merger a lot, and I have liked it, as you know, for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that it could really become something quite good. So I hope.
Just delayed the closing delayed too long. Obviously people lost interest. That's normal. So we will see next week if they finally close it.
Be really nice to see.
Yeah,
absolutely, because I always felt it was quality, and so that would be really nice.
Yeah, because I was getting a little bit worried lately if they ever go through with it. But now with the amendment, I think we can clearly say they are on the finish line, and something will come there.
Hey, for everybody that's listening, I'm going to post in here a link to our YouTube channel. Guys, go ahead and give us a subscribe. Like our videos. Tomorrow, you're going to see this space that we had here tonight. We're going to have a video created out of it and posted to YouTube. It's going to have thumbnails of each stock that we talked about, so you don't have to go through and listen to everything. You can go right to where you want to listen and check out the due diligence and the information that we shared on that stock. So thank you guys. We're here because of you guys, and we want to give you all a big shout out for being part of OTC Stock Talk. If there anybody else that has a hand to raise at this present moment, wait, we do. Arrested Stock Development, what's up, bro? Go ahead, man.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How you
Hey
doing?
man, always good to hear you.
Good. I wanted to talk about BIEI.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, I know it well.
Okay, so these guys, did you catch their news they put out there? I think yesterday, the day before, about the concrete.
I did see that. Yeah, what did you think?
Well, I'll tell you what's really interesting. Okay, and I can tell you, I'm calling from Canada, so I give you the Canadian perspective on concrete, right?
I'm
they're
Canadian too.
Okay,
We can
perfect.
share.
So if you build, in building per unit, let's say you're building an apartment building, per unit, concrete apartments are usually about $100,000 to $150,000 more expensive per unit than building wood, right? So these guys just came out saying that if you read their news, this part's very interesting here about putting the graphene inside the concrete. They said preliminary tests conducted over a 14-day period have yielded promising results, with the final report due in 12 days. So we do have a catalyst coming, right? So this is the part. Let me just the part that I found extremely interesting here. Let's see here about the timing here. I should have highlighted it.
In the outstanding preliminary results, you're into the strategic joint venture.
Well, they say that this mixture that they've discovered makes it stronger, it's cheaper, and it dries quicker, right? So reducing costs. So and they just brought in a CTO who's got a lot of history in the construction business in Mexico. He's run 3 or 4 different companies. So look like they're building something.
Gustavo.
From an SS standpoint, they're fully diluted. For the most part, they're pretty clean. There's not a lot of notes or anything. They haven't raised their AS or anything like that. They're still sitting, the 1.1 billion. DTC is just over $1 billion. So, I've been accumulating these guys for a little while. If you look at the chart, you look at the weekly, they've just been ranging basically between 9 to about 113, right around there. So they're playing in there. They've had a couple false breakouts. I thought they were ready to go and they weren't. But this little piece of news is actually significant. If they get the results that they're talking about, this is a game changer in the construction industry. So it's something you definitely want to watch. Maybe hopefully we'll see a buildup of volume as we closer to the 12 days. But I think you definitely want to keep your eye on these guys.
I think the catalyst it says we can't wait for the final results in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, final results come out, and that's something investors will be looking to see.
Exactly. So we'll see. Volume will tell you a lot a few days before anything comes out, right? You'll see an uptick in volume. If you see an uptick in volume down, then run for the hills, right? But if you start seeing it build up and bids start building, then you know that the news is positive.
And the interesting thing is this share structure is the same like for a long time now.
Exactly, Shido.
Like to the tick. And this is one that is really maxed, because sometimes, we say, okay, A is maxed, but we can see restricted shares going unrestricted, or we have a big difference between unrestricted and held at DTC. So you can see dumping as well. But this one is really like as maxed as is possible.
Exactly.
And that's the good thing. Authorized, maxed, almost no restricted shares. And the DTC not much lower than the unrestricted. So there is literally not possible legally to get any new shares from anywhere.
Not unless they extend the authorized, which they'd have to file to do so.
If they raise, obviously, then everything is different.
And then from a technical standpoint, we have that big gap that because there was a reverse merger there a while ago and it got canceled. And this thing flew on the previous reverse merger news. This thing went all the way this way. This thing went up to 006, right? On the high of what? 006 there, a high of, on the previous. So then it got canceled. It was a big mess, and it gapped down quite a bit. Yeah, I remember that too. And I mean, it was a mess. They people didn't even know. They didn't put a PR out. It was done on Facebook that the merger was done. And anyways, left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So I think people might be a little hesitant to get involved. But I mean, this is a different company now, right? The new company is completely different. They have nothing to do with the old one. But you know, when sometimes in the OTC, when a company leaves a bad taste in your mouth, it doesn't matter. It's all you can remember, right?
Yes.
But
yeah, that's why I immediately was like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know. But I'm glad to hear because yeah, it was probably a year and a half ago now that they did that first deal, and then they said we're not doing the deal, and then they were doing the deal, and then they just stayed into graphene and stuff. So I mean, it's nice to hear that they're finally moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it looks promising. We'll know when the results are in a couple of weeks. But if this is true, if everything they're touting is true, that this has huge potential, right? If you could reduce the time that you have to let concrete sit for construction, right? Because don't forget, you're paying interest on all these mortgages that are sitting there, right? So if it takes you I'm not sure the exact time, it takes you 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to let concrete sit before you can build. You're paying interest on all that. If you can reduce the time by half or more than half, it's huge, right? So and then make it, and it's also stronger. I mean, these and cheaper. I mean, what else? I mean, it's a trifecta. It has everything, right? So we'll see.
Well, okay. Well, thanks for the heads up on it, because I hadn't thought about that one for some time. So I'll definitely get eyes on.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. And a quick question, Shido, do you sleep? I'm just curious.
Yeah, what time is it?
Yeah, not a lot. Honestly,
because I think you're about 5 hours ahead from me. And
where are you, Shido?
I'm in the middle of Europe, so I'm 6 hours in front of Eastern.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's half past.
It's 12. It's after 12 o'clock at night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't know you were in Europe. I thought you were stateside.
Oh, thanks a lot. But you should have noticed when I talk, right, that I'm not stateside.
Huh. Wow. All right. Fair enough. Well, guys, I want to wrap this up. It's 6:30. We have had an amazing conversation. We've talked about a ton of stocks. We didn't cover any of the losers today, like OSAP or MGAM or LEAS that's come up in our conversations before, but we'll do that next time. Guys, thank you so much for joining OTC Stock Talk, for being bold enough to come up and share in conversation the stocks you're looking at and due diligence about them. And please follow us on X or Twitter, and give us a subscribe on YouTube. We're going to be putting out more content for you, and we have some really exciting interviews coming up. As early as Thursday of next week, we're going to be talking with a stock that has a super sexy stock structure, BINZF, Binance Limited. And for all those cryptocurrency lovers out there, it is a mining company, a Bitcoin mining company. And their stock structure looks amazing. They've only got 36 million shares in the float. They've only got 128 million outstanding. And this stock's trading at 18 cents. I mean, we're going to find out firsthand what's going on. I don't think there's any bag holders in this stock. We'll have to find out for ourselves when they come on. But It's going to be worth it. So thank you guys for joining us. I hope you have a great night. God bless you, and have a great day.
Thank you so much. See you all soon.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.